Hi Mark, this is Michael. My student number is S0141007. The speech title is How We Can Eat Our Landscape, and I'm the senior student at NCUE. So I'm going to read a TED Talk speech. How We Can Eat Our Landscapes by Wurhurst. The will to live life differently can start in some of the most unusual places. This is where I come from, Todmorden. It's a market town in the north of England. 50,000 people between Leeds and Manchester. Fairly normal market town. It used to look like this, and now it's more like this, with fruit and veg and herbs sprouting up all over the place. We call it propaganda gardening. Laughter. Corner Railway Station Park, front of the health center, people's front gate garden, and even in front of the police stations. Laughter. We've got edible canal towpath, and we've got sprouting cemeteries. The soil is extremely good. Laughter. We've invented a new form of tourism. It's called vegetable tourism. And believe it or not, people come from all over the world to poke around in our raised bed. Even when there's much more growing. Laughter. But it starts a conversation. Laughter. And you know we're not doing it because we're bored. Laughter. We're doing it because we want to start a revolution. We try to answer this simple question: can you find a unifying language that cuts across the age and income and culture that will help people themselves find a new way of living, see spaces around them differently, think about the resource they use differently, interact differently? Can we find that language, and then can we replicate those actions? And the answer would appear to be yes, and the language would appear to be food. So 3.5 years ago, a few of us sat around a kitchen table, and we just invented the whole things. Laughter. Applause. We came up with a really simple game plan that we put a public meeting. We did not consult, we did not write a report, even of that. Laughter. And we say to that public meeting in the Tormorden, look, let's imagine that our town is focused around 3 plates: a community plate, the way we live our everyday lives, a learning plate, and we teach our kids in school in what new skill we share amongst ourselves, and business, what we do with the pound in our pocket, and which business we choose to support. Now, let's imagine those plates aggregate with community action around food. If we start one of those community plates spinning, that's really great. That's really start to empower people. But if we can then spin the community plate with the learning plate, and then spin it with the business plate, we've got a real show there. We've got some action theater. We're starting to build real resilience ourselves. We are starting to reinvent community ourselves, and we've done it all without a flipping strategic document. Applause. And here's the thing as well, we've not asked anybody permission to do this. We're just doing it. Laughter. And we are certainly not waiting for that check to drop through the letterbox before we start. And most importantly of all, we are not daunted by the sophisticated argument that say these small actions are meaningless in the face of tomorrow's problems, because I have seen the power of small action, and it is awesome. So back to the public meeting. Laughter. We put that proposition to the meeting, 2 seconds, and then the room exploded. I've never ever experienced anything like that in my life, and it's been the same in every single room. In every town that we ever told our story, people are ready to respond to the story of food. They want positive action they can engage in, and in their bones they know it's time to take personal responsibility and invest in more kindness to each other and to the environment. And since we had that meeting 3.5 years ago, it's been a heck of roller coaster. We started with a zip swap, really simple stuff, and then we took an area of land, a strip on the side of our main road, which was a dog toilet, basically, and we turned it into a really lovely herb garden. We looked the corner of the car park in the station that you saw, and we made vegetable beds for everybody to share and pick from themselves. We went to the doctor. We've just had a £6 million health center built in Todmorden, and for some reason that I cannot comprehend, it has been surrounded by prickly plants. Laughter. So we went to the doctor, said, "Would you mind us taking them up?" They said, "Absolutely fine, provided you get planning permission and you do it in Latin and you do it in triplicate." So we did. Laughter. And now there are fruit trees and bushes and herbs and vegetables around the doctor's surgery. And there's been lots of other examples, like the corns that was in front of the police station, and the old people's home that we've planted with food that they can pick and grow. But it isn't just about growing, because we all are part of this jigsaw. It's about taking those artistic people in your community and doing some fabulous design in those raised beds to explain to people what's growing there. Because there are so many people that don't really recognize a vegetable unless it's in a bit of plastic with a bit of an instruction packet on the top. Laughter. So we have some people who design these things. If it looked like this, please don't pick it. But if it looked like this, help yourself. This is about sharing and investing in kindness. And for those people that don't want to do either for those things, maybe they can cook. So we pick them seasonally, and then we go on the street, or the pub, or in the pub, or in the church, or wherever people are living their lives. This is about us going to the people and saying we are all part of the local food jigsaw. We are all part of a solution. And then, because we know we've got vegetable tourists and we love them to bits, and they are absolutely fantastic, we thought, what could we do to give them an even better experience? So we invented, without asking, of course, the incredible edible green root, and this is a root of exhibition garden, an edible toothpaste, and bee-friendly site, and stories of pollinators, and it's a route that we designed that take people through the whole of our town, past our cafe and our small shops, through our market, not just to and forth from the supermarket. And we are hoping that in changing people's footfall around our town, we are also changing their behavior. And then there is the second plate, the learning plat. Well, we're in partnership with a high school. We've created a company. We are designing and building an aquaponic units in some lands that we spared at the back of the high school, like you do. And now we are going to be growing fish and vegetables in an orchard with bees, and the kids are helping us build that, and the kids are on the board. And because the community was really keen on working with the high school is now teaching agriculture, and because it's teaching agriculture, we start to think, how could we then get those kids that never had a qualification before in their lives but are really excited about growing? How can we give them some more experience? So we got some land that was donated by a local garden center. It was really quite muddy, but in a truly incredible way, totally voluntary lead. We have turned that into a market garden training center, and that is polytunnel and raised bed and all the things that you need to get the soil under your fingers and think maybe there's a job in this for me in the future. And because we were doing that, some local academy says, we could help design a commercial horticulture course for you. There is not one that we know of. So they're doing that, and we're going to launch it later this year. And it's all an experiment, and it's all voluntary. And then there's the third plate, because if you walk through an edible landscape, if you're learning new skills, if you start to get interested in what's growing seasonally, you might just want to spend more of your own money in support of local producer, not just veg, but meats and cheese and beers and whatever else it might be. But then we're just a community group, we're just volunteers. What could we actually do? So we did some really simple things. We fundraised. We got some blackboard. We put incredible edible on top. We gave it every market traders that was selling locally, and they scribbled on what they were selling in any one week. Really popular. People congregated around it. Sales were up. And then we had a chat with the farmers, and we said, we are really serious about this, but they didn't actually believe us. So we thought, okay, what should we do? I know if we can create a campaign around one product and show them there is local loyalty to a product, maybe they'll change their mind and see we're serious. So we launched a campaign because it just amused me, called Every Egg Matter Laughter. And what we did was we put people in our egg map. It's a stylized map of Tokmorden. Anybody that is selling their exact egg at the garden gate, perfectly legal, to their neighbor, we've stuck on there. We started with 4 and we now got 64 on. And the result of that was that people were then going into shop asking for local Tottenham egg. And the result of that was some of farmers opted the amount of flock they got of free-range bird. And then they went on to meat bird. And although these are really small steps, that increasing local economy confidence is starting to play out in a number of ways. And we now have farmers doing cheese, and they've upped their flock and rare bred pigs. They're doing pasties and pies and things that they would have never done before. We've got increasing market sales, selling local food. And in the survey that local student did for us, 49% of all food traders in that town say that their bottom line has increased because of what we were actually doing, and we're just volunteer and it's only an experiment. Laughter. Now, none of this is rocket science. It certainly is not clever, and it's not original, but it is joined up, and it is inclusive. This is not a movement for those people that are going to sort themselves out anyway. This is a movement for everyone. We have a motto. If you eat, you're in. Laughter. Applause. Across age, across income, across culture. It's been really quite a roller coaster experience, but going back to that first question that we asked, is it replicable? Yet, it most certainly is replicable. More than 30 towns in England now are spinning the incredible edible plate, whichever way they want to do it, of their own volition. They're trying to make their own lives differently and worldwide. We've got communities across America and Japan. It's incredible, isn't it? I mean, America and Japan and New Zealand people after the earthquake in New Zealand visit us in order to incorporate some of this public spiritness around local growing into the heart of Christchurch. And none of this take more money, and none of this demand a bureaucracy, but it does mean it does demand that you think things differently, and you are prepared to bend budget and work program in order to create that supportive framework that community can bounce off. And there are some great ideas already in our patch. Our local authority has decided to make everywhere incredible edible, and in support of that have decided to do two things. First, they're going to create an asset register of spare land that they've got, put it in a food bank so that the community can use that wherever they live, and they're going to underpin that with a license. And then they say to every single one of their workforce, if you can help those community you grow and help them to maintain their spaces. Suddenly, we're seeing action on the ground from local government. We're selling this mainstream. We are responding creatively at last to what's real demanded of us. And there's lots more you could do. I mean, just to list a few. 1. Please stop putting pricky plants around public building. It's a waste of space. Laughter. Secondly, please create edible landscapes so that our children start to walk past their food every day in, day out, in our high street, in our park, wherever that might be. Inspire local planner to put the food side at the heart of the town and the city plan, not relegate them to the age of the settlements that nobody can see. Encourage all our schools to take this seriously. This isn't a second-class exercise. If you want to inspire the farm of tomorrow, then please let us say to every school, create a sense of purpose around the importance to the environment, local food and soil. Put that at the heart of your school culture, and you will create a different generation. There are so many things you can do, but ultimately this is about something really simple. Through an organic process, through increasing recognition of power of small action, we are starting, at least, to believe in ourselves again and to believe in our capacity, each and every one of us, to build a different and a kinder future. In my book, that is incredible. Thank you. Applause. Applause. Thank you very much. Applause. And this is the end of my speech.